Est-ce que c'est vrai que les Bantus étaient les premiers juifs? T'as qu'à regarder les animaux. Regarde le lion de la tribu de Juda. Le lion se trouve où? Regarde les vêtements des soi-disant lévites, se retrouvant sur des bas-reliefs égyptiens, habillés en peau de léopard. Le léopard, il est le totem de qui? Posez-vous les bonnes questions. Et retracez l'histoire, la vraie histoire. Quand les prêtres d'Aton ont été contraints de quitter l'Égypte sous l'égide d'un certain Akhenaton, qui, comme par hasard, était un grand initié, non seulement initié au rite des dompteurs de léopards, mais aussi ceux des initiés du lion. Quand on dit lion, je ne sais pas si ça vous parle, le lion de la tribu de Juda. Juda, Yaoudaé, Yaoudé, Yaoundé. Prêtre lévite, prêtre d'Aton, Yaoudaé. Le totem du lion, c'est clairement l'Afrique centrale. Le léopard, Afrique centrale aussi. Ce que vous appelez juif est clairement Bantu, clairement Yaoudaé et clairement prêtre d'Aton. Tout est sorti d'Égypte en fait, ce que vous appelez religion éveillée là.
Race primordiale de Anti-Eyo, Tareyo, Tatanzambe. Dokil Tsamela, maître initié Bantu israélite, exorciste spécialiste des combats mystico-spirituels. Je viens ici pour vous parler de la suspension christique sur le poteau, de la salvation de la race primordiale, les Bantus, les vrais juifs de la Bible. Yesaya Ongola, alias Jésus-Christ, avait été suspendu sur le poteau à la manière du serpent des reins. Quelle est la valeur mystique du serpent? La valeur mystique du serpent retourne de la connaissance. Le serpent a la symbolique dans les textes de la connaissance et non du diable. C'est pourquoi dans Genèse 3 premiers, on parle du serpent comme étant l'animal le plus rusé, le plus sachant, le plus étincelant d'entre les animaux qu'Ontario, Ontario, Tatanzambe et Dieu avait créés. Et donc quand le fils de l'homme, Yesaya Ongola, alias Jésus-Christ, voulait donc être suspendu à la manière du serpent, il voulait être suspendu à la manière de l'élément illuminatif qu'on appelle le serpent. Et l'élément illuminatif, c'est-à-dire qui étincelle, c'est-à-dire qui amène l'homme à la contemplation de l'équilibre des dimensions existentielles sur l'homme, s'appelle le phallus, le bangala. En effet, le membre viril de l'homme est l'élément sur lui qui l'amène à la contemplation absolue et parfaite de Tatanzambe et de Tari de Dieu. C'est pourquoi lorsque l'homme s'en sert, c'est-à-dire du phallus, du membre viril, qu'il pénètre le temple du Seigneur, qu'on appelle le vagin, l'homme atteint la dimension de l'exaltation et de l'équilibre. Et quand l'équilibre est manifesté, cette équilibration est manifestée par le goût que l'homme ressent et vit dans sa propre chair. Le goût qui se passe dans la chair de l'homme pendant la grande adoration qu'est le rapport sexuel équivaut à l'équilibration des trois dimensions manifestées de l'homme, à savoir l'esprit, l'âme et le corps. Et donc, le membre qui le rend capable de rencontrer l'équilibre et l'extase, donc, c'est le serpent de l'étincelance qu'on appelle le phallus, la bite, le bangala. Et comme le crime qui avait désaxé l'homme, le moto primordial d'avec sa femme, était un rapport sexuel précoce dans la forêt sacrée en Afrique ancestrale, Yesaya Ongola, alias Jésus-Christ, fut suspendu sur le poteau à la manière d'un membre phallique. En effet, lui-même pendu entre les deux brigands était la symbolique d'un pénis en érection. C'est pourquoi justement avant qu'il ne libère son esprit, on a le voile du temple qui se déchire. Ce voile qui se déchire équivalait au dépucelage de son épouse qu'on appelle l'église, donc les Bantus. Et comme la femme était souillée, C'est par donc ce contact sexuel que le mot primordial avait acquis la nature de son épouse. Car comme vous l'énoncez dans une autre communication, c'est la nature de la femme qui influence celle de l'homme lors du rapport sexuel. Donc, la suspension de Yesaya était l'équivalence, en fait, d'une pénétration vaginale avec un pénis bandé. Et les deux brigands aux côtés de Yesaya Ongola équivalaient aux testicules, aux couilles. Vous avez, souvent les hommes, vous le savez, une grosse couille et une couille moyenne. La grosse et la moyenne couille représentent de part et d'autre le bon et le mauvais. Alors sinon, le bon brigand et le mauvais brigand. Et justement, Yesaya Ongola sur le poteau était encadré par deux brigands, dont l'un était bon et l'autre mauvais. Christ, Yesaya Ongola avait été suspendu entre les couilles. Lui-même représentant le membre viril. Le vol du temple se déchirant représentant la cavité vaginale qui le pénétrait pour prendre la nature de son épouse, l'église, les Bantu. Je m'arrête là. Mais ici, vous avez à pénétrer la nature sexuelle de la suspension christique sur le poteau, de la rachatabilité des Bana Israël, Boni Izuria, Bantu israélites, les vrais juifs de la Bible. À très bientôt.
Now let me bring it home to us. My dear people, please understand that the war being waged against us is also spiritual. You could clearly see that they were successful in confusing and disrupting our compass in life, which is our spirituality. So my dear children, just like in anything in life, there's a duality, okay? There's good and evil. There's God and there's the devil. There's the serpent and there's the snake. What is a snake? The snake is a serpent which chooses to dwell in lower vibration and frequencies. The serpent is God's consciousness, while the snake is that of the devil. So from now on, please learn to tear apart a serpent from a snake. We, the Africans, are serpent. They are the race of the snake. If you look into their history, their past reveals who they are. Surprisingly, they don't hate the snake behind closed door. They worship it. When you see them having them as pet, they know what they're doing, okay? Just like a man's spinal cord is fundamental to his freedom, meaning his ability to freely move around in the physical realm, the serpent or the mbumba is fundamental to our spiritual lives and our salvation. And they know it. That's why the shape of the Vatican compound is a serpent. That's why on Sundays, the Pope and his loyalists, they worship in the belly of a serpent called the Pope Audience Hall, because they know the spiritual value of the serpent. And yet they tell us to hate it and kill it, because they pervert and destroy everything they touch. The thieves of our traditions have stolen sacred knowledge from our ancestors. These thieves are also known as the secret societies. Some of you may think that they are a good source of knowledge, but no. Our elders warn us to never join such gangs, because the knowledge they hold has been compromised and perverted the minute it went through the hands of these thieves, these European pirates. So know that the knowledge they hold is now demonic, because it has absorbed their demonic nature. These Edomites came into our sacred places and touched the forbidden. They took our sacredness and desecrated the sacred. They have perverted and demonized our ancestral knowledge and tradition. That's why the members of said secret societies are perceived as Satanists. And yes, they are. Because when something mystical, something spiritual, something mystical, let's say a knowledge or even an object has gone through the hands of somebody, it spiritually possesses the holder as much as the holder spiritually possesses it. It fusions with the nature of its holder. Therefore, it is safe to say that the teaching of these secret societies are satanic, because the Edomites are of the race of the devil, and whatever they hold has absorbed their demonic nature. So stay away from it. That's the reason why the world is in the turmoil it is, because these world leaders are misusing our ancestral Kamito Bantoid sacred knowledge. So when they wage war on the serpent, they are waging war on God, because God is the divine serpent, the Mbumba. And since you are born of God, you are the original serpent on earth. So that's why we're catching hell on earth, my dear people. They say they hate the serpent because they hate Nzambe and the people of Nzambe. They know they are snakes, low vibrational serpent. So of course they are going to hate the original serpent, which is their complete opposite, and which is you.
So on the contrary, white people actually do know that we are fully human. And that is the reason they dehumanize us, because when you dehumanize someone, then you can treat them as less human. So slavery was a form of dehumanization. Colonization and how they treated Africans on the continent was a form of dehumanization, right? So they can justify their actions by saying we are less than human. But here's the thing for you. Melanin right now is trading at $350 per gram. Ask yourself, who needs manufactured melanin? White people. Why would they want something that is embodied in people they see as less human, right? Number two, why have white people whitewashed history and taken our narrative, removed us from it, and inserted themselves? Why? Because what they did was they took their narrative, which is the narrative of brutality, savagery, colonization, plundering, raping, incest, all those hideous things. They remove themselves from that narrative, and then they insert us in there, and then they put themselves in our narrative. Kemet was built by African people, but white scholars will tell you that no, it was not. Right? Great Zimbabwe, they argued for a long time, was not, definitely not built by African people, but it was constructed by who? By the Portuguese. All these lies perpetuated in an attempt to do what? In an attempt to make themselves superior to us. And of course, because we didn't have written history, we had oral history, we had no documents to prove really who we were. And so they sold the entire world a bag of lies upon which they have built their entire quote-unquote civilization. The thing is crumbling and is coming to an end. Please Google King Leopold of Belgium's letter to the missionaries before they invaded the Belgian Congo. And in it he states, brethren, there is nothing you're going to teach these people about God. There's nothing you're going to teach them about science. There's nothing you're going to teach them about anything, not even astrology. However, you have a mission, and the mission is to empty them of their beliefs and who they are by instilling fear. And once we have them, then we can continue our mission, which was to rape and to plunder. So absolutely, white people know of our humanity. They also know of our power. Why do you think we have so many white people trying to get into closed ancestral spiritual practices? I have no worry there. That is the one space they can never invade, because our ancestors are awake. We are magic. They know it.
So my dear royals of Africa, note that as much as they made us hate ourselves physically, they put in the same effort to make us hate ourselves spiritually. Now let's dive deep into that rabbit hole. My dear children, their religions were drafted to keep us lost and to further destroy us. Please understand that the self-hatred they worked on inflicting on us, it didn't just stop on a physical level, they took it on a spiritual level as well. They just didn't stop at forcing us to hate our hair. They just didn't start making us hate our skins, our black skins, right? The darkness of the beginning of time, the sin of creation mentioned in their book, the Genesis, the darkness of the beginning is us. It's our signature, our melanin. They taught us to hate it. Many of us are still bleaching until today. Many of us still believe that a mixed kid with curly hair looks better than an original Bantu child. They just didn't stop there. We were literally forced to apply dangerous chemical on our skull. Note that everything in us that gives us power, they taught us to destroy it. So as they taught us to hate ourselves physically, they taught us to hate ourselves spiritually by teaching us to fear, hate, and destroy the serpent. Now, you wonder why we hate ourselves to the extent we do. It's because it's rooted on the spiritual. So if in the spiritual we hate the serpent, we're gonna hate ourselves. We're gonna hate each other. We're gonna hate other serpents. We program to kill it, to chop the head. Isn't it the way we treat each other in these streets? Note that their programming is working very well. When they train us to hate the serpent, knowing that we are the original serpent on earth, it affected us. Look how we treat each other. We are so quick to lift up the weapon when it comes to one of us, when it comes to a brother, to a sister. Oh, we don't think it twice. We lift up the weapon. We go for their lives. It's tied to that evil programming. It's that spiritual programming you receive in their churches and mosques and wherever they take you. Now, you gotta give it to them. These demons, they can wage war. They took the battle to another realm. They have us hate ourselves down to the spiritual level. So it makes manifest on the physical level. They hate themselves in the spirit. They will hate themselves in the flesh. So when they taught us to hate or fear the serpent, they taught us to spiritually hate ourselves. They taught us to spiritually limit ourselves. They taught us to hate the serpent and seek to destroy it any chance we get, knowing that we ourselves are serpents. You gotta give credit where credit is due. That's some genius demons. Note that their religions are full of codes, okay? So their religions didn't teach us love. No, but what did they do? They spiritually programmed us to turn against each other. That's why we're so quick in taking each other out. My dear people, note that in their religions, they have subliminal messages which have for goal to program the mind of the people. Contrary to our ancient Egyptian ancestors who revered the serpent. I mean, the serpent is God concept. So to the Bantus, to the African, we elevate it. That's why our kings back in Kemet, they warrior on their head because it's a known thing. The cobras watches over the head of the kings. So we elevate it, all right? We elevate it, we put it up high. What is higher than the head of a king? So our kings used to put it on their heads and stuff as a symbol, like look who's watching over me. On our walls, the painting and stuff, it was revered. In our ancient mythology back in Kemet, it is established, it's clear that even the serpent has a duality because the serpent watching over the head of the kings is Wache, and the evil serpent's name is Apep. We call it Apep. The Greek renamed her Apophis. So the duality was presented up front. Contrary to the Christian religions, they send subliminal messages like you see on this image of the Virgin Mary, their Holy Mother. What do you see her doing? Trampling on a serpent. She has the serpent under her feet, right? They will give you an explanation that, oh, she's showing perfect balance between good and stuff. No. And their religion doesn't tell anybody that the serpent is also good. They only talk about the evil serpent. So there you have it at her feet. So this is a code. This is how they brainwashed all the populations they had conquered, enslaved, and colonized to resent, fear, or hate the serpent. Pay attention how powerful is that representation. Here they have their Holy Mother standing on the world with a serpent trampled under her feet. So they were clearly sending a message to the world. The symbolism of having the serpent, which we have covered in a previous video that really is the symbolism of the black man, tells you what you need to know. We, the white race, have taken over the world. We're standing over the world with the serpent, aka the black man, trampled under our feet. Not only they have the Africans themselves hating the serpents, but they have the rest of the world, waging a vicious war on the serpent. Yes, that's why we're still in captivity. That's why we're still marginalized until we figure out. That's the Christian religion many of us are ready to die for. Understand that you are too powerful for them to destroy you. So of course, what did they do? They taught us to destroy ourselves.
It's the last week of Black History Month. Oh, now we're getting straight to the real. You know the slogan. Teach your people to reach your people. And today I'm gonna give you 5 of the most outrageous Jim Crow laws. I wonder if they still affect us today. If you don't know, Jim Crow was never a real person. It was a character invented in a minstrel show to try to emphasize the inferiority of black people. Jim Crow laws is something that was created in the southern states that was intentionally trying to keep black people down. First one that blows my mind is never assert or even insinuate that a white person is lying. The second one is never lay claim to or even demonstrate superior knowledge and intelligence towards a white person. Third, never curse at a white person. Fourth, never laugh at a white person. Man, this is sounding like TikTok. Number 5, and for sure the one that hit me the hardest, is never show love and affection to another black person in public. This was the law. Let that sink in. Black is African.
Stéphane, les cerveaux d'État. Ok.
Our elders emphasize that each one of us is born with his or her own serpent spirit, which is the spirit of Nzambe in us. Therefore, each one of you carries his or her own serpent. Yes, as a matter of fact, we all carry a serpent. So please dive deep into the depth of your being to meet with your Mbumba. Keep in mind that it's up to you to make of your serpent what you choose. You could choose to dwell and remain on higher plans and make your serpent a divine serpent, or you could choose to dwell and remain on lower plans and turn your divine serpent into a snake, which is the devil consciousness. It's truly up to you. Know that if a person's character is off, trust and believe that his or her serpent is now a snake and you must run to the hills, because the serpent always absorbs the energy or the personality of its owner. So while we were lost, the enemy maintained rulership over us by applying the mystical spiritual principles of our ancestors against us. It's called warfare. So as of today, stop fearing and hating the serpent. The serpent is the animal which brings us salvation and life. The serpent is our spiritual spinal cord, without which man would be spiritually paralyzed. Man wouldn't be able to easily access or interact with the divine. Try not to kill any serpent unless they charge at you, unless they come and attack you. But our elders really teach us that the serpent is all-knowing. If they come charging at you, they are not a serpent, they are a snake. And then you need to deal with them. You need to kill them. But take the time to always observe what they do. Don't just go after them and start killing them. Because the war they wage on the serpent is the war they're waging on Nzambe and Nzambe's people. So keep it in mind. Tata Nzambe created us and gave us this wonderful earth to live in harmony with the animals. Everybody belongs. Everybody serves a purpose. To the Bantus, the serpent not only brings us salvation and life, but the serpent is also symbolic of fertility. Note how the serpent lays its eggs. The serpent is very fertile. When the serpent lays its egg, it's not 1, 2, or 3. It's a bunch of them. It's a basket full of them. So that's fertility. That's abundance. The serpent is healing. In many of our spirituality, the serpent is known to absorb bad energy from our bodies, absorb disease and things. So the serpent is healing. The serpent is cleansing. The serpent is also symbolic of rebirth and transformation, as you know, through its process of shedding its skin. So when you shed your skin, you're giving yourself the opportunity to be born again. Okay? When you shed your skin, it means like your whole life, you leaving it behind, you peeling it off. You make a conscientious effort. You set the intention to peel off your whole life as a slave, as a prostitute, as a drug dealer, as a gangbanger, as whatever you chose to walk in the past. You have the ability to shed off the skin of being a backstabber, a traitor, a thief, a liar, a hater. You can peel that skin, you can heal, you can be reborn. So to shed your old skin, tap into your serpent nature and start going through the painful process, but so necessary to our healing and rebirth of shedding off your skin. Everything from our past we don't want. We live it. We have the ability to peel it off, to shed it off of us. You have the ability to transform. You have the ability, as of today, to cease to be your oppressor. Because that's the problem with many of our children. They have embodied. Many of them don't even mimic their former masters anymore. They have embodied their former masters, especially around other black people. They have become our former masters. So you knowing who you are should make the big difference. I believe that our people would do better if they know better. So know that you're a serpent. You can peel off, you can shed off that old skin. You can shed off who they made you to become who God truly intended for you to be. Okay? So through the serpent, you have the ability to shed that skin. You have the ability to heal. You have the ability to transform and be reborn. And once you have the ability to be reborn times and times again, you have achieved immortality. Have you ever seen a serpent who dies out of old age? Have you found a dead serpent somewhere that died out of old age with nobody messing with it? We are serpents. We are immortals, my beautiful people. So stop praying a Jesus who never died for us. Jesus was part of the plot of destroying us. Yes, Yesaya Congo existed. Yes, he was a prophet. Yes, and he lifted his serpent high. He obeyed the covenant. Why do you think they're trying to make you guys gay? So you can be done. Why do you think the zoologists or whatever are constantly in our forests studying our species, our animals? Why? Because they know who they're fighting. We are the original human beings on earth, and our secrets lays in nature. So that's why you see them studying our species and stuff. Why do they study our species? They study them so they could embody their characteristics, so they could become us. They call it the big replacement. It has always been their plan to replace the original inhabitant of Earth, to replace us with them. That's why they're so obsessed in family planning us. The covenant is enjoy life on earth and multiply. As long as we do that, we will be here. We will be heirs and heiresses of the wonderful earth God gave to us as a gift. When you start becoming gay, it's done. They have taken over fully. As long as we obey that covenant, we multiply, and Zambe instructed us, he will take care of the rest. Tell them to take their family planning wherever they come from. Tell them you Bantu, you African, you born of God, you born of the divine serpent, you are a serpent. And yes, they must respect you, because you know, serpent, even though it crawls on the ground, but it demands respect when you meet one, because you know it has the power to take you out. And this is who you are. You are nobody's toy to play with. You deadly, you a serpent. So start in your heart, mind, and soul, embracing the serpent.
Nigeria is a Christian country. Yep, looks like it. Let me get this straight, and I'm going to explain very, very slowly. The colonizer from the West came to Nigeria, took millions of people as slaves, and pushed them to the Americas against their will. Robbed Nigeria, destroyed Nigeria, belittled Nigerian people, deleted the history of Nigeria. And in the midst of all of this evil, wickedness, and sinning, the same Western colonizer brought to you a religion within which, in the religion, it says you should not paint God or make a statue of God. But he did it anyway. He made a statue of God and pictures of God looking like himself. And in the midst of oppressing your people while teaching you to worship an image of himself as God, he fabricates lies about Islam and gaslights you and says, you need to follow this Christian white Jesus because Islam, they are so evil and the Muslims are this and that. Make that make sense to me. Why on earth would you take the religion of the man who oppresses you?
Les colons, ils ont mis en place des pouvoirs, ils ont tracé des frontières. Et puis, à leur départ, ils ont mis en place des gens, soi-disant élus démocratiquement, qui maintenaient les mêmes frontières, les mêmes valeurs, les mêmes... Ce n'est pas de la décolonisation. Et sur le plan religieux, il faut que les Africains comprennent que leurs ancêtres qui ont été colonisés, qui ont été torturés, qui ont été massacrés pour les forcer à accepter la colonisation, ont également été torturés, massacrés et maltraités pour changer de religion. Les conversions au christianisme ont été faites par la force et par la violence. Alors, imaginez, et les ancêtres que vous avez, peuple africain, sont toujours vivants. Et ils vous regardent, et ils voient leurs descendants, vous, s'habiller comme leurs tortureurs. Ils voient leurs descendants aller dans les églises qui ont été mises en place par leurs tortureurs. Ils sont désespérés. Si vous voulez retrouver la vérité qui est le culte de vos ancêtres, débaptisez-vous, apostasiez de la religion des colonisateurs, jetez les vêtements des colonisateurs, retrouvez les vêtements africains, retrouvez la culture africaine, retrouvez les religions d'avant la colonisation. Alors là, vos ancêtres vont vous regarder en étant fiers et en disant, tiens, finalement, nos descendants sont finalement indépendants. Pour l'instant, vous ne l'êtes pas. C'est des blagues. On vous fait croire à l'indépendance. Il y a un drapeau, il y a des... C'est des pantins, mais qui sont aux ordres des pouvoirs internationaux. Et vous le savez, en prenant un maximum d'argent qu'ils mettent sur des comptes en Suisse. Et en même temps, l'Afrique meurt de faim un peu partout.
Dear Africans, in 2024, I don't expect you to believe, worship, trust a God that does not look anything like you. A God whose child has blonde hair, blue eyes, white-skinned is obviously not your father because, I mean, he's white, right? Unless if you want to tell me that you are the adopted children of which I don't think we've ever been up for adoption, eh?
Someone tells you God is outside of yourself. You believe it, you give your power to that concept, you support it, you invest in it. And someone tells you you are God and you fight it, you reject it, you abuse it, you deny it. Don't you think that is a spell casted upon your consciousness so you don't look within yourself, my people? Wake up.
Ce qui va me succéder, ici y'a pas tal et douloureux. Oh Tatanzame, veille sur moi, oh. Mais qui va me succéder, ici y'a pas tal et douloureux. Oh Tatanzame, veille sur moi, oh.
My dear children, it's imperative that we start healing in the diaspora, on the continent, wherever we are. My biggest concern is America, because if we don't, we won't make it, especially the ones in America. So please start in your mind, heart, and soul, acknowledging the Boomba in you, acknowledging the serpent, accepting it, embracing it, and not fearing it, because you know why? Your spirit cannot accept or absorb that which you fear, resent, or hate. It's simple as that. Yes, my beautiful children, so seek to meet your Mbumba. Go in meditation, set the intention. Let the divine serpent come through and talk to me. Let the divine serpent come through and tell me who I am. Ask Nzambe what kind of Mbumba he gave to your people. Every family has a Mbumba. Every family has a Mbumba. Go and find out which was your Mbumba. Dive deep, cut out the noise, the toxicity, the things of God. You have to be clean. You can't access these powers being jealous and hateful. That's why we're still toxic, because we don't know what we're doing, okay? So dive deep, go in meditation, dance, learn our dances. There's a bunch of videos out there. Start practicing to thirst your waist, male or female. Start embracing your real nature. You can beat this demonic plague called white supremacy they have injected in you. Some of you being around you is like being around that cracker, and it's disgusting, it's disappointing. So heal. You have the ability, you have the tools, you have the power. You're Mwana Nzambe. Go back to your creator. Talk to him. Go and meet your Mbumba, like our late son, Kobe Bryant did. People were wondering why he was so obsessed with the Mamba, because that son of ours dove deep and met with his serpent. In that family, they have a mamba. We, the African, looking from, he's like, yes, he did his research. He went and met Nzambe revealed. That's why he shaped his entire life around the mamba. He studied. He even realized he looked like the mamba, moved like him and everything. And of course, what the Mbumba does, the Mbumba brings wealth to your life. The Mbumba brings clarity. He had his life mapped out. He was going to start his brand, the Mamba, he was going to start his league, the Mambasita Academy, everything. This is what happened to a man who has met his serpent. That's why the time of reckoning has come, and our son Kobe needs to rise and come and get those who did this to him, because his passing was just too convenient. Dive deep and meet your serpent. What kind do you carry? Do you carry a king cobra like me, a snake eater? Do you carry a mamba, a green, a black, a gabon viper? Do you carry a python, an anaconda? Figure out. Start watching documentaries about serpent that explain their nature and everything. You will see that one particular one will call you, and that's the serpent of your ancestors. That's your serpent. That's the serpent you're born under. We have different serpents, so find what your serpent is and invite him in your life, and your life will change for the better. Okay, my beautiful people, you can. You are not an American cracker to go around acting just like them. You can beat this. This is how we win the war. So yes, the serpent is fundamental to our spirituality. So start embodying the characteristic of the serpent you are to usher its benefit into your life. Meditate, pray, dance, contemplate to awaken your Mbumba. Accept your serpent nature from the bottom of your heart and clean your mind from any past programming against it. How can you receive and enjoy virtues such as fertility, divine healing, rebirth, and transformation if deep down in your spirit you fear, resent, or hate the serpent? It's impossible. So that's why we are still toxic, because no matter how much we pray, meditate, contemplate, sing or dance, many of us remain unhealed because we don't know what we are doing. So call on the divine serpent today to enter your vessel and cleanse it, heal it, purify it, and make it brand new like a newborn. Shed your old skin of victimhood, slavery, and abuse of all kinds you may have been submitted to. And through your mind's eyes, see yourself shedding off that skin like the serpent does. So you have the ability to heal from it straight up. We are serpents. We are all knowing. So when we do evil, we know what we're doing. We choose to do evil. That's why I don't buy into the, oh, I'm damaged, oh, I'm traumatized. No, because you don't know the real nature of who we are. We are serpents, we are men, we are God on earth, we are all-knowing. So those of you who are out there just destroying others, you choose to be that way, and guess what? Destruction is coming for you just like it's coming for our former masters who damaged you. Okay? So you have the ability. We can heal this. We are serpents. My grandfather told me that our people are unbreakable. So the enemy defeated our ancestors on the battlefield, and the enemy has been defeating us in our minds. Remember, my beautiful royals, our forefathers and foremothers lost the physical war. Now we are to win the spiritual war, because if we win the spiritual war, we will get back on our thrones, because the spiritual rules the physical. All right, remember our ancestors who went against bullet with blade. They knew they were going to lose that war, but they felt that we were worth fighting for. They knew that we were worth dying for. And now, in this turning time in our history, will be losers those they have completely taken over. What do I mean by that? When they have successfully murdered, assassinated the African in you, and you have become them. Remember, in a previous video, I told you that to my grandfather, the distance by me just choosing to go live abroad was not the issue. The issue to him was the risk of losing me, not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, culturally. Everything they taught me, if I had thrown it away, they would have lost me for good. So the same works for you. You will remain a child of Africa as long as Africa lives in you. What do I mean by that? Something of African, not just blood, okay? Because there's no point of coming to live around us if you have become the savages who tortured you. It won't go well. You saw what happened in Liberia. They are still being deported until today. I hear some of our children in America going boastfully, we have the right. No, it won't work. The prophecy said they will return as our children. If you're acting like a cracker, you think you're better than African, you think you're smarter than them, you think don't bother, stay where you are. What makes you African is the way you act, is the way you handle conflict, is the way you tackle issues, is the way you understand life, is our culture, is our spirituality, is what makes us African. That's why we gatekeep it. That's why you see our brothers and sisters in South Africa fighting that invasion still. Now, the people who tortured them during apartheid, their offspring are now claiming to be African as well. So they have that battle that there's nothing in them African, nor will there be or will there ever be. Just like they uproot you from Africa and brought you here, and to them you're not from here. So same thing goes for them when they found themselves in Africa. They will never be African, period. So the only way to win this is to heal, is to go back to who we are, embrace our identity, honor our ancestors, honor their sacrifices, because if they have successfully turned you into just a pound of flesh, they can mold us to whatever they want, and then our ancestors would have died for nothing. And then they should have really traded with them. Then they should have really opened these stores and lined us up and sell us like the former masters told us on the side of the world that our people did. Our forefathers didn't go against bullet because we were idiots. They knew who they were fighting for. They knew we were worth dying for. But we are the generation that would heal and restore their honor. So how are we gonna win this war is to be born again. Shed your skin and be born again. Come out fresh, come out new, shining. You have the power to do it. You are built to do it. Tata Nzambe wouldn't let us go through something as horrible as slavery and everything and make promises that we will recover from it, and didn't ensure that we will indeed recover from it. So trust in the process. Be that serpent. See yourself come out new, brighter, younger. See yourself being reborn and transformed. And when you're done, give thanks. Give glory to Ntieyo, Tata Nzambe. Okay, my beautiful people, we can do this. We can beat this. Teach other people. Don't just come and watch me. We say one, teach one. Go and teach others too. Okay, my lovely ones, I truly hope you receive this with open heart. Okay? Know that Nzambe loves you, and know that your queen loves you. Until next time, peace in your homes. Love in your hearts, and unity, because without which we stayed conquered, defeated, and doomed. Until next time. Mwah.
Mojino.